Marriages Are Made in Heaven, a play in one act by W. Somerset Maugham, read by Bologna Times. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Marriages Are Made in Heaven by W. Somerset Maugham. Characters: Jack Rayner, Mrs. Vivian, Lottie, Herbert Peyton, a maidservant. Scene: a drawing room in Mrs. Vivian's house. Jack and Mrs. Vivian are having tea. Lottie is a rather elaborately dressed woman of 28, handsome and self-possessed, which suggests that she has consorted with men rather than with women. Jack Rayner is 32. There is about him a certain weariness, as if he had lived hard and found life difficult. His face is sunburnt, somewhat lined and worn. "I say, Lottie, has it occurred to you that this is our last day of single blessedness?" "Of course it has. I've been thinking of nothing else for a week." "Are you glad?" "I think I'm anxious. I want to have it over safely. I'm so afraid that something will happen." "Ha ha! What nonsense! The fates can't help being friendly at last." "I've gone through so much. I've lost all confidence in my luck." "And you're solemnly going to swear that you will love, honor, and obey me. By Jove, I'm a nice object to honor." "I think I can, Jack, and love and obey you, too." "That's very good of you, old girl. I doubt whether either of us has many illusions, but we'll do our best." "A breath of country air, and they'll all come back again." "I hope to goodness they don't. Illusions are like umbrellas. You no sooner get them than you lose them, and the loss always leaves a little painful wound. But don't let us be sentimental. How shall we celebrate the last of our liberty?" "Do you want to do anything? You're so energetic." "Shall we dine out and go to the Empire, and then on to the Covent Garden?" "Oh, no, I couldn't stand it. I'm sick of the Empire, sick to death. I want never to go to a music hall again. I want to live in the country and bathe my hands in the long grass and gather buttercups and daisies." "As it was in the beginning." "Oh, I shall be so glad to get back to it after these sultry years in London. I often think of myself in a large sunbonnet, milking the cows as I did when I was a girl." "But cows are milked by machinery now, aren't they? And it's sure to rain when you want to put on your sunbonnet."
"Oh, Jack dear, don't be cynical or bitter. Let us try to be simple. We won't say smart things to one another, but just dodder along stupidly and peacefully."
"When I was in Africa, and the sun beat down pitilessly, I used to think of the green lanes and the silver mists of England. But don't you think you'll be awfully bored?"
"Jack, have you no faith in me?"
Going to her and taking her hands. "I've got more faith in you than anyone else in this blessed world, but I'm afraid I haven't much in anybody. Ah, Lottie, you must teach me to have faith in my fellows."
"I want to teach you to have faith in yourself."
"I'm afraid it's too late for that. But for goodness sake, don't let us sentimentalize. It hurts too much." He walks away, and then, regaining his composure, turns round. "Did I tell you that I've asked Herbert Peyton to tea, so that I might introduce him to you?"
"It's odd that I should never have met him. Did you know him before you went to the Cape?"
"Yes, rather. We were at school together. I'm sure you'll like him. He's the very worthiest chap I know."
That sounds a little dull.
Oh, but we're going to cultivate respectability ourselves.
Servant enters and announces, "Mr. Peyton." Herbert comes in. He is a grave, youngish man, soberly dressed, a little heavy, and without any great sense of humor. Jack, going towards him, "We were just talking of you. Allow me to introduce you. Mr. Peyton, Mrs. Vivian." Herbert bows, and Lottie smiles cordially, holding out her hand. He hesitates a moment, and then takes it. Lottie, shaking hands. "It's so good of you to come. I was most anxious to make your acquaintance." Herbert gravely, "It was very kind of you to ask me." "I want you to be great friends. I always insist that the people I like shall like one another." Lottie, pouring it out. "You'll have some tea, won't you?" "Thanks." She gives him a cup. "Jack has told me a great deal about you."
"I hope nothing to my discredit."
"On the contrary, he's so full of your praise that I'm almost jealous."
"You know, Lottie, I've asked Herbert to be best man."
"And has he accepted?"
"Certainly. He accepted straight off, before even he knew your name."
"You're a very confiding man, Mr. Peyton. I might have been dreadfully disreputable."
"And have you finally decided to be married tomorrow? Your preparations have been very rapid."
"There were none to make. Everything is going to be quite private, you know. There'll only be one person beside yourself."
"And aren't you even going to have a bridesmaid, Mrs. Vivian?" Lottie, looking at him quickly.
No. I believe it's not usual."
The servant comes in, and brings a letter to Jack.
"The man's writing for an answer, sir."
Jack, opening the letter. "Oh, I'll just go and write a line, Lottie. I'll be back in 2 minutes." The servant goes out.
"Very well. Mr. Peyton and I will say unkind things of you while you're gone, so don't be long."
"Ha ha! All right." He goes out. Lottie, making room on the sofa upon which she is sitting.
"Now come and sit by me and we'll talk, Mr. Peyton. It was so good of you to come and see me."
Herbert, sitting not beside her, but on a chair near the sofa. "I was most anxious to make your acquaintance."
"One always is curious to see what the people are like whom one's friends are going to marry."
"It was not the reason that I wished to see you."
"Oh!"
"I'm glad Jack has left us alone. I wanted to have a little talk with you."
"I'm sure I shall be delighted."
You know, Jack is my best and oldest friend."
"Yes, he told me so. That's why I want you to like me too."
"We were at school together, and afterwards at the Varsity, and then we shared diggings in London." He pauses for a moment. Lottie, smiling.
"Well?"
"I tell you this all in justification of myself."
"How very mysterious you are. Jack didn't mention that in the catalogue of your virtues."
Herbert gets up and walks up and down. "You can't imagine how delighted I was when Jack told me he was going to be married. He's had rather a rough time of late, and I thought it was the best thing possible that he should settle down. I asked him what on earth he was going to marry on, and he said you had 1,200 a year." Lottie, with a laugh.
"Fortunately, because poor Jack lets money slip through his fingers like water, and I'm sure he'll never be able to earn a cent."
"And I asked him who you were."
"What did he tell you?"
"Nothing. He seemed astonishingly ignorant about you.